Hello everybody, my name is Just Some Geeky Guy, and welcome back to another video review of the most anticipated comic book film of the year 2025, Superman, written and directed by James Gunn. Now, back in 2022 when it was announced that James Gunn was going to be rebooting the DC film franchise, and he was not going to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman to continue his story, this was my exact reaction.
This fucks up my plan. This is fucking bullshit. Okay? These fucking assholes, these fucking assholes! The fuck is their problem, man?
Yeah, as you can imagine, I didn't take the news very well. I was pretty much considering boycotting the film altogether because why would I bother watching a Superman reboot film I didn't even ask for that's written and directed by a guy who I'm not that fond of? Not even the set picks for the film were doing it for me, because I thought all the costume designs were cheap as hell. Especially Guy Gardner's costume design, oh dear god. I was even further turned off when I found out that James Gunn was going to be using the Richard Donner films as an inspiration for his Superman film. My first thought after I found out about that was, oh gee, another Superman film that's just a knockoff of the Richard Donner days. Because that worked out so well when Bryan Singer did it. However, what did make me come around to seeing it in theaters was when I saw both of the trailers for the film and clearly noticed the comic-inspired themes and plot points from the New 52 Superman comics and from Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. I even noticed that Gunn was going for a tone that was similar to the DC animated universe shows that I grew up watching and loved as a child. At that moment I thought, okay, let's give this a shot. And after doing so, I couldn't be more wrong. James Gunn's Superman film was a genuine surprise for me, and I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would have. I'm gonna get into what I liked about this film first, before I get into some minor problems that I didn't like. Now, for the record, this review will have no spoilers in it, so if you want to know my spoiler thoughts on the film, check out my live review that I have for this film on my channel. First of all, David Corenswet was amazing as Superman. He not only embodied the character's persona from the comics very well, but he also brought a familiar humanity and vulnerability to the character like we've seen before. If I had to describe him, imagine if you took the grounded relatability of Cavill's Superman and the Silver Age Boy Scout part of Reeves' Superman and combined them together. You get Corenswet's Superman. However, there is one minor tweak I didn't like, and it's that there were certain moments in this film where he came off very immature and childish, such as that one moment we saw in the trailer where he threw a fit at Lois Lane for the backlash he got on social media for intervening in Jahanpur. Rachel Brosnahan was amazing as Lois Lane with what she was given. She played the part of the no-nonsense, witty, and courageous reporter from the comics perfectly. And I'd rank her right up there with Bitsy Tulloch from the Arrowverse and Amy Adams from the Snyderverse as my favorite live-action iteration of Lois Lane. She and David had superb chemistry. Pun intended. Nicholas Hoult was good as Lex Luthor, but there were some aspects of him that I didn't like. When he was first cast, I didn't buy it at all, because I just couldn't see him pulling off the authoritative and menacing presence of Lex Luthor. But oh boy was I wrong. There were certain moments in this film where he came off very genuinely menacing, but there were other moments where he came off as a joke, and it was hard for me to take him seriously. The rest of the cast were great, including the Justice Gang. Nathan Fillion was great as Guy Gardner, but I wish he got a better costume design. Eddie Gathegi was terrific as Mr. Terrific. However, I did not like Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl at all. I'm sorry, but I thought she was lame. The actress who played the engineer was really good though, and I can't wait to see her in the Authority film that is also rumored to be directed by Gunn. The humor in this film was surprisingly tame compared to Gunn's other films. There were bits of forced humor here and there, but it wasn't as frequent as Gunn's other comic book films. I was very worried that Gunn was going to turn Superman into a comedian, but thank Rao that didn't happen. Because I don't care what anyone says, Superman is not a comedic character. He is a lighthearted character, yes, but he's not a comedic one. The action scenes in this film were great, and I will give Gunn some credit. He can shoot great action scenes, to the point where you really do see a comic panel come to life. The visuals in this film were very well done, but there were some few tidbits here and there where it was noticeably unpolished. Now, what are my negatives with this film? Well, as I mentioned before, Lex Luthor had some over-the-top and immature moments where it was hard for me to take him seriously, like that bit we saw from the trailer where he starts screaming maniacally and throws a childish fit because something didn't go his way. Like, to all you people out there who complained about Jesse Eisenberg being over-the-top and goofy as Lex Luthor, I dare you to defend this. There was even one moment in this film involving Luthor and Krypto that I can't spoil because, again, this is a spoiler-free review, but it just had me laughing my guts off in the theater to the point where I just couldn't take him seriously as a menace. Another issue I did have with this film is that the pacing does drag during the second act, and it takes a while to pick up, but it didn't fully drag down my experience. I still had fun. As I mentioned before, there are bits of forced humor that irritated me, but there are some other bits of humor that I did genuinely find funny, so it did kind of rectify it. Also, my final issue with this film, it's not a big deal that I believe lowers the film's quality or anything, it's just a personal pet peeve of mine. But I really do wish that Gunn had picked another villain other than Lex Luthor for this film, because I am so sick and tired now of having to watch yet another Superman film with Lex Luthor yet again as the main villain. Keep this in mind, Hollywood has made 9 live-action films with Superman as the main character, and 6 of them had Lex Luthor as either the primary or secondary villain. Overall, I did not expect to love this film as much as I did. I thought walking into it that it would turn out decent at best, or I would hate the film at worst. But no, I very much enjoyed it personally, and I gotta give James Gunn a lot of props for surprising me and proving me wrong. My final rating for James Gunn's Superman film is an 8 out of 10. And let's see where the DCU goes next. Hopefully just as fun as this one. If you're a die-hard Superman or DC fan, I very much recommend this film. Alright, that's all for today. See y'all next time.